Welcome to EDTE 255, Introduction to Democratic Perspectives in K-12 Education. This is Module 9, Contemporary Trends in Education, the reading recap. In this chapter, we addressed several contemporary trends in education that can be answered asking the questions who or for whom, what, when and where, how and why. One contemporary trend in education addresses whom we teach. Inclusive practices in education are focusing on including a variety of students with a variety of abilities into our classrooms. That includes students with special education needs, students who are identified as gifted and talented, students who have been identified as English language learners, and students with a variety of learning preferences. Another related contemporary trend in education addresses who can do the teaching in a classroom. One aspect of who teaches in a classroom relates to teacher tenure and who is qualified, and how long a teacher needs to teach before they earn tenure. Those variables vary by state and by school district. Another aspect of who teaches in a classroom was set by No Child Left Behind, and it's the idea that all teachers must be highly qualified to teach the content and the age group that they are teaching. Another contemporary trend in education addresses what we teach. Currently, we see a variety of foci of different topics that are popular or trendy right now. That includes STEM education, or science, technology, engineering, and math. We also see a push for content area literacy, where every content area is an area where students need to learn how to read in that content, understand text structure, and how to read and write. We also see a push for technical careers, especially with college and career readiness standards that exist. Another push that we see currently is computer programming and the need for qualified people who can program, although this occurs more at the collegiate level. And then the book also references curriculum based on social and emotional learning. These trends come in and out of fashion based on the economic needs of a society. The push for STEM results from a recent push for the need for more highly qualified individuals who can work in those areas. Also, with the booming internet industry and e-commerce, etc., we see the need for more computer programmers. There's also an emerging need for people who are highly qualified in technical careers, such as plumbing and electrical work. And some of that can stem from oversaturation in other fields, such as the STEM areas. We will see those continue to change as economic factors change. Yet another contemporary trend in education addresses when and where we teach. In particular, your book mentions a variety of different school settings. Many of you will be placed in a traditional K-12 public school education setting. Some of you will teach at the middle school level or junior high level. And there is a difference between middle schools and junior highs and how they prepare students. Whereas junior highs tend to be a junior version of a high school with similar curriculum, similar schedules, and similar structure. Whereas middle schools tend to involve more extracurricular and co-curricular choices, advisory periods, etc. You also read about a variety of other school settings and institutions, such as charter schools, magnet schools, private and parochial schools, and you also have learned about online schools, homeschools, and the concept of unschooling. Also a contemporary trend in education is how we teach. So we continue to see evolving pedagogies that focus on inclusion to meet and exceed the needs of students who might be identified for special education or as English language learners or gifted and talented learners. We also see the push for technology in the classroom, which leads to individualized learning. And we will learn more about that in the next module. You also learned about cooperative learning, and you might want to consider how that relates and is in comparison to competition in the classroom. And through this course, you've learned about service learning and how students in classrooms get connected to the communities in which they're in. Finally, another contemporary trend in education addresses why we teach. And this ties back to your motives to being a teacher and what you think the purpose of school is. For example, many people think that the main purpose of school is intellectual, to train students and people in specific core content areas, whereas some other people think the primary purpose of school is social, to build relationships and social skills. Yet others will identify the economic factors that schools serve to create an informed and skilled workforce. And other people identify the need for a population that is civically minded to engage and renew a democracy. All four of these purposes exist and work in connection, kind of like the gears that you see on the screen. However, different people seem to emphasize different aspects and purposes of school. This also comes into play in your belief and philosophy of education and how you teach. Some teachers see themselves as a sage on the stage, where they know all the information and know what a student needs to know and how to teach it. Some people prefer to take a guide on the side approach to teaching, where they allow students to do more inquiry-based learning and allow the students to explore topics and help students as they need it or prompt them with motivation and higher level thinking. Yet other teachers and people view their role as a conveyor of content. And this relates to the ideas of standardization, which is another trend in education of how and why we teach. And here the teacher's role is merely to convey the information that needs to be taught based on a set of standards. And finally, another role that some people see themselves as when teaching is being a change agent to push for social change and for social justice issues. All these philosophies can combined and interact with the purposes of school. You will learn more about these trends, philosophies, and pedagogies in more depth in courses about special populations and content area pedagogy. You will also learn some more about these trends in an upcoming activity in this module. If you have any questions, you can contact me via the email address listed on the screen. As always, make sure to take the quiz based on the chapter, which will help review all the acronyms and key terms from the chapter. And finally, make sure to post your initial response and replies to the discussion board based on the prompts provided.